بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. So we said the best type of tafsir is التفسير بالمأثور. بالمأثور. مأثور was what is narrated, what has reached us through riwayat, through ahadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Imams, okay, the Sahaba, the Tabi'een who are authentic. That is the best because they know, they read, they hear this from the Prophet. They know exactly what does this verse mean. But however, this type of tafsir, this method of tafsir, bil ma'thur, is enveloped with what? With risks. Some of these risks are what? Can you tell me?
Could have heard it in error.
You
could have misunderstood or heard it in error.
One of them is ضعف الأسانيد. ضعف. One of them is, one of these setbacks and weaknesses, ضعف الأسانيد. The isnad, the chain of narrators is not credible. Is not credible. Okay? Is not trustworthy. Is not trustworthy. Either in this chain there are majahil. Majahil means what? Majahil means anonymous. We don't know them. They put just names after names. Nobody knows anything about them. Majhul. One of the descriptions, how many of you studied ilm al-hadith? Definitely when you studied ilm al-hadith, some category of those narrators are called majhul. The plural is majahil. We know nothing about their life. Or ضعاف الحال. They are weak. ضعيف الحال. Even in Farsi they say. But ضعيف الحال in Farsi they say to someone who doesn't have food. Here it is a reference to his character. His character is weak. We can't depend on his character. Or irsal. What does irsal mean? Irsal.
Relayed message or something?
He says the hadith, for instance, he's third, fourth, fifth generation. He says an Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, without putting the chain of narrators. He sticks the hadith immediately to the Prophet. You can't say this. An Rasulullah, shortcut. Okay? This is irsal. Or حذف الإسناد. حذف الإسناد. حذف, deleting, omitting al-isnad. For instance, he's fifth generation, so he has to bring the name of 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he says the Prophet. Okay? He deletes 2 and 3, for instance. There is some broken linkage, broken in the middle, missing narrators.
So say the difference between irsal and hadaf is basically...
Irsal is, he does not even mention
Just everybody.
no narrator.
Right.
Immediately he says the Prophet. Hathful isnad, he mentions some and he deletes others. He doesn't mention the whole chain of narrators. So somewhere it is broken. It is broken. Okay? And therefore, my friends, such a hadith, they become problematic in the tafsir. We cannot accept them. We cannot depend on them. It's difficult to depend on such a hadith. Okay? Now, do you remember what I said, the difference between fiqh, the science of fiqh, our methodology in fiqh, and our methodology in tafsir or history? or even aqaid. Okay? What is the difference when it comes to narrators? We said khabar al-wahid, the isolated narration, the isolated narration. If that khabar al-wahid is thiqa, trustworthy, though he is isolated, are we going to accept it when it comes to fiqh or no?
Yes. What was Yaqeen said?
Why? Why do we accept it?
Otherwise we would reject everything since the majority of them are.
But khabar al-wahid, remember, khabar al-wahid, we said it is dalil dhanni, not dalil qat'i. Dalil, an evidence that is not based on certainty. Dhanni. Dalilun dhanni. Not dalil qat'i.
But it can reach.
It does not give me certainty, peace of mind. It doesn't. Because my mind is going to say, the Prophet was there, surrounded by people. How come only one person is narrating this? I know I respect this person, he's not a liar. But how come one person?
Well, you got to make life easier.
So it makes for me dhan, not qata, not certainty. But then what does Sharia say? Sharia say yes.
Right.
Yes, it is dalil dhanni. But we would elevate this to the level of what? Dalil qat'i. We will consider it. Otherwise, if we don't consider it, leave it alone, it is dalil dhanni. Yes, you have the right not to be 100% sure of this or certain. You have the right. Because your aql, your reason says no. He could be, he didn't read well, he didn't see well, he didn't hear well. But we will. Why? Because if we don't elevate this, there are thousands of ahadith that are isolated, and if you want to throw them away, you're going to stuck with fiqh. You don't know what to do in the masail. You don't have an answer. So you have to accept this to find an answer. And if something wrong happens, I will accept the responsibility. Shari' says, you are not responsible. You are not responsible. I'm not going to hold you responsible. Okay? So it gave a credibility to Khabar al-Wahid. Value. So we can accept it. Provided that the speaker is honest, not a liar, of course. If he's a liar, we don't accept him. Provided that he has good character. Many scholars, they said this standard and this criteria works only in fiqh, but it doesn't work in tafsir. Why?
Because fiqh, we conduct our daily activities, whereas tafsir and history is just, you can think it or leave it.
Yeah, it's not going to affect your Yaqeen or your deen or.
Exactly. Because in fiqh, we need something called al-hujjiyya at-ta'abbudiyya. What does that mean? Al-hujjiyya at-ta'abbudiyya. What does it mean? It means that sometimes I have to follow blindly. Because if I want to find the evidence, I would not be able to find them. So I have to follow blindly. Sharia says, here, trust me and follow me blindly. I'm not going to take you into the wrong direction. I'll give you an example. Listen and look at me, please. You are going to go to an unknown destination for you. There are two cars with two drivers. One of them, you know nothing about him. And he says, trust me, I'll take you some. You ask him, where do you take me? He says, don't worry, I'll take you. And then another car, your father. For 40 years, this is your father. You trust him. And he says, my son, come with me, I'll take you to a destination. Which one you go with? Do you go with the first one that you don't know him? It could be an Uber driver. You don't know him. You see him for the first time. He's taking you to an unknown destination. You know nothing about the destination. No research, no knowledge, nothing. Dark, he says, we go into this darkness. Or you trust your father. Still, he's taking you to an unknown destination, but he's your father. Which one do you choose? Definitely you choose your father because you trust him. Even if you don't know the details, you can follow him blindly because you trust him. Whereas the first guy, you don't know him. How can you follow him blindly? This is exactly the meaning of Hujjiyat Ta'abbudiyya. The Shari', the legislator, in fiqh questions, he says, sometimes you have to follow me because you must trust me. Even if you don't know the philosophy, even if you don't know the direction, even if you don't know the reason, trust me, follow me. This is called ta'abbud. We follow because there are commands. We don't ask. But who do we follow? Anyone? No. We follow someone that we trust. So though we are following him blindly, but we will still be safe because we trust him. The example of the father. Okay? This is the difference. Because in fiqh, why do we need the answer? Do we need the answer? Listen, please look at me. Do you need the answer in the masail of fiqh for ilm only or ilm and amal, practice? Which one do you need them for? You need them mostly for amal. Because you need to give me an answer. Is the prayers this way or that way? Is the fasting this way or that way? If I vomit while I am fasting, this is a question that I always asked. I'm always asked. People call me, text me, we vomited today. Is my fasting okay or not okay? They ask. So they need to see whether they continue the fast or khalas, they give up on that fast. So they need something, an answer, because they have to do amal. It is related to their life, to their deeds, to do or not to do. This is the fiqh. Whereas tafsir has nothing to do with amal, it's with ilm. Yes, it's good to know better, more accurate, the tafsir or the history. An example of that, the Battle of Badr. How many people killed? We've been told 70. Now, if I believe 30 people are killed, would that hurt? Or not 70, 140. Would that, would that change my prayers, my fasting, my hajj, my zakat, my treatment of the society, the parents? Has nothing to do. Am I right or wrong?
Correct.
Huh? Or which Sahabi was killed in this battle, which Sahabi was killed in that battle? I don't care. Extra information is good, but has nothing to do with your amal. Has no repercussion. Whereas the fiqh, I have to make sure that this hadith is correct. If I don't know, then I'd end up doing things that are not required from me. Like Salatul Taraweeh. It's not required, but people do it. Or I might miss something which is required, but I don't do it. This is the difference between fiqh and tafsir. Fiqh is related to deeds, ibadat, mu'amalat, right and wrong. Whereas history and tafsir are important. They integrate your knowledge. You become allama, knowledgeable. You know about the Islamic history. You know about the Quran, the verses of the Quran. Why the Quran says, لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق فمحونا آية الليل وجعلنا آية النهار مبصرة. We extinguished the sign of the night. We made the sign of... There is a reason. But if you don't know the reason, this piece of knowledge, it would not affect your prayers and your fasting. You are still Muslim and a good Muslim. Are you with me? That is the difference. Therefore, khabarul wahid here, khabarul wahid al-thiqa, the trustworthy. We must accept it in fiqh, because if I don't accept it, my amal is going to be crippled. It comes to a halt. I end up in situations I have no answer. I don't know what to do. I don't know whether this is halal, haram, this is mandatory, this is voluntary, this is makruh, this is mustahab. I don't know. So I have to accept these. Whereas in tafsir, there is no necessity to accept khabar al-wahid. And therefore, my friends, I haven't finished now. Therefore, scholars from both aisles, Shias and Sunnis, when it came to fiqh, they took care of this khabar al-wahid. They spent time on verifying it, making sure that it is isolated, but it comes from the mouth of someone is trustworthy. So they were strict in their filtration of the hadith. But when it came to tafsir and history, they were relaxed. They did not use the same methodology. They were not stringent. Because this is, whether we know this or know that, someone does not believe in the Ghadir. Let me ask you this. He doesn't believe in the ayah of Ghadir. اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. 2 verses in chapter 5. Allah says يا أيها الرسول بلغ ما أنزل إليك من ربك وإن لم تفعل فما بلغت. He doesn't believe that this is related to the wilayah of Ali. But he still believes Imam Ali is successor to the Prophet. But he does not believe that this verse is related to the wilayah of Imam Ali. He believes that the Prophet on that day, for instance, said, be friends of Ali. As the Sunnis believe. Sunnis say, yeah, Ghadir is correct, it happened. Definitely. And the Prophet said, Man kuntu mawla, fahada Ali mawla. But the meaning of wilayah here, he meant, let him be your friends. So imagine someone Shia who believes that Ali comes after the Prophet ﷺ, but he believes the opinion of the Sunnis in this specific verse. Does that make him a sinner? He's committing a sin? I'm asking you a question. Think before you tell me. What do you think?
No.
How about you?
It's a ilm.
But this is very important verse. How can someone does not believe in this verse?
Yeah, I mean,
If you ask some group of people, if you tell them,
because for us it's part of the aqaid. I mean,
Al-Aqidah is not important?
yeah,
Important?
of course.
So how about this verse? You should believe in it, or it's okay if you don't believe in it? Would you get less grades or same grades?
Well, say believing in it or not believing in it, you may choose your fiqh based on that belief, on how you choose that one.
No, but suppose you choose other verses, not this one.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Other verses.
I thought specifically this one.
Or let's say, Abasa wa tawalla. Abasa wa tawalla, the Sunnis, they believe that the Prophet frowned. The Shias say no, it's not the Prophet. He cannot frown. The Prophet is refined ethically, morally, he's humble. Even if he's pressured in a corner, he would not frown. So this must be someone else. So suppose one Shia who respects the Prophet, he follows Ahl Bayt, he says, no, I believe the Sunni story, the Sunni version of the story, not the Shia. Is this a sin?
That's problematic.
Why?
Because we believe that the prophets are masoom, they wouldn't do something wrong. And this is indicating.
But would the frowning hurt his infallibility? Would compromise his infallibility?
To some extent, it's his character. Yeah, it's not befitting of his character as a leader and as a symbol, something for people to follow.
But that is different than Isma. Isma means he's a truthful in transmitting what he received from God. He never adds, neither deletes. He gives you exactly the same sentence, the same meaning that God wants you to know. But it doesn't say he doesn't get angry, he doesn't frown, he doesn't yell, he doesn't, be unhappy. It doesn't say that.
Right.
Isma means he doesn't commit a sin. He doesn't commit a crime. He doesn't lie. He doesn't cheat. He's not dishonest. He transferred the message exactly from God to you. He's very honest in delivering the message. But it never says a prophet never gets angry or frowns or yells or screams. Doesn't say that.
I guess that technically then that wouldn't be a problem.
It wouldn't be a problem. It would not degrade you. You receive less grades because you don't believe. Why? Because tafsir depends on itmi'nan. It has to make sense to you to accept it. Fiqh does not depend on itmi'nan. Fiqh, sometimes I don't know why I should do 7 times around the Kaaba. I really don't. I'm struggling, but I still do it. Even if I don't have itmi'nan, even if I don't have full satisfaction, but because God says you have to do 7, I say, yes, sir. But inside me, I'm still, why? Why 7? Okay? So even if you don't have internal itmi'nan and peace, you still have to follow. Why? Because this is ta'abbud. Ta'abbud. These are military orders. You can't question. Whereas tafsir is not like that, because tafsir doesn't have any amal. It has only ilm. And ilm, I cannot convince myself unless I'm really convinced. I cannot cheat on myself. So if the ayah still does not make sense, or I can say, yeah, the Prophet can frown. It doesn't hurt his nubuwah. It doesn't hurt his infallibility. Maybe some people will be shocked if he frowns. Oh, he's a prophet, he shouldn't frown. You know. But it does not hurt his infallibility. Okay? So if you don't believe in that, you have to be fully satisfied, fully convinced to accept the tafsir. It should not be imposed on you. Because there is no ta'abbud in tafsir. God does not want you, I want you to understand this book even if you don't understand. He never said this. He never said this. He said, yeah, people have capacities. Some of them understand fully, some of them 50%, some of them 5%. No problem. Of course, it's better to understand 100%. But God is not going to push something down your throat and He says, believe in this. He's not going to do that. Whereas in fiqh, yes, sometimes it is pushed down your throat. Many women do not like hijab. But because they know it's commands from, I have no choice. They wear it reluctantly. They don't like it. Many people don't want to do Fajr prayers. Tired, leave me alone. I want to finish my sleep, enjoy my sleep. But because it's an order. You know, many of us, we jump off our bed. We jump out of fear, because there is Jahannam. If God says, okay, I am, nobody will do the morning prayers, believe me. Yes, in the old times, because they used to go to bed at 7 p.m. So definitely they are awake at 3 a.m. Full of sleep. But now where people go to bed at midnight, 12 or 1 a.m., it's difficult for them to wake up for Fajr. The pattern has changed. So there is ta'abbud. In fiqh, there is ta'abbud. Some people, they don't like to go to Hajj, but you have to go once in a lifetime if you have money. You have to go. Some people don't like to pay khums. I love my money. I don't want to give khums. But they have to pay. Ta'abbud. This is ta'abbud. Whereas in tafsir and history and, these things, there is no ta'abbud. If you don't comprehend this idea, if you are not convinced about it, it's okay. Don't believe in it. So what? You were going to say something?
I was going to say, so there's a lot of the controversies between the Shia and Sunni can be sort of eliminated with this explanation of tafsir. Not all of it, I'm saying.
If you become sushi, yes. But if you want to be hardcore Shia or hardcore Sunni, no, they are not eliminated.
But I'm saying, like, if people understood
Yeah.
this concept,
Yeah.
they might not be as...
Zealous about it. Yes, of course, yeah. So what? Yeah, the Prophet frowned. Someone came and he interrupted him. The Prophet was focusing on some people. He wanted to gain their hearts, their minds. Someone interrupted him. So what if he frowned? But they say, no, إِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. You are standing on the highest level of akhlaq and manners. How can you frown? You cannot frown, especially with a poor guy. He came asking for help and he was blind. Of course, I am with the idea that says the Prophet did not frown. He didn't. But I say, so what if someone wants to believe that he frowned? Because it does not hurt his infallibility. It might hurt his image, yes, it might, but not his infallibility. A person could be very honest, very truthful, but also angry, like me. Okay? Musa alayhi salam was angry. Musa was angry, but it did not hurt his being universal master. He was angry. فَوَكَزَهُ مُوسَى فَقَضَى عَلَيْهِ. He killed the guy. Based on suspicion, he killed him. And then he ran away. But he's still a prophet. Of course, he did this before becoming prophet. I mean, his record is not completely immaculate and clean. But he's still a prophet. So when it comes to tafsir, we use different standards. We are more relaxed. Okay? And therefore, we don't have to accept khabar al-wahid. We don't have to. Here we have to because we need it. If we don't use it, we lose. Here we don't lose. That is one difference. The second difference is that even when the hadith is mentioned not by khabar al-wahid, by group, 10, 5, 7, in fiqh they still examine it. Doesn't mean if it is narrated by 5, it means it gets an immediate okay. No, we still have to examine those 5. They could be liars, who knows? And if we find something in their record, blemishing their record, we drop the hadith. We don't accept it. This is where? In fiqh or tafsir? In fiqh. Because I want my a'mal to be correct. I don't want someone to come and mislead me. I don't take chances in fiqh. In fiqh, I don't, because I don't want to repeat the prayers of 50 years or the fasting of 50 years. Okay? So I don't take chances. Therefore, the system of filtration of fiqh is very extreme. Very, very extreme. No tolerance. They have zero tolerance for suspicion in fiqh. But when it comes to tafsir and history, they don't have that strict system of filtration and examination and a cross-examination. They take it easy on that. They take it easy on that. This is why, if you look at the books of tafsir within the Shia tradition, within the Shia scholars, they borrow some hadiths of tafsir from Sunni traditions. They put them in their books. Because this is not a book of fiqh, this is book of tafsir. And therefore I am not very strict about that. I don't use the same methodology of strictness that I use in the fiqh. Because fiqh is related to a'mal, to halal and haram. Tafsir is not related to halal and haram. To knowledge, to ilm. So they are more relaxed. They borrow from each other's hadith. Okay? Even when we do the tafsir al-Quran, we use Sunni references. Al-Razi, Al-Qurtubi, Tabari. We use their books. Kashaf, Zamakhshari, Alusi, this or that. We use their opinion. Because this is nothing to do with halal and haram. Yes, it could be right or wrong. But it does not hurt your religion. It does not hurt your ibadat. Are you with me? Doesn't hurt your ibadat. Does not compromise your religion. Maybe a wrong piece of information. For instance, the Battle of Uhud. 7 people remained with the Prophet. The rest ran away. Some tafsirs, they say no, 5. Some of them say 6. Some of them they 7. Some of them say only 3. 3 or 5 or 6 or 7. Doesn't matter. We know that the majority, they run away. That's it. Now the details, whether the details something a little up, a little down, it doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt. Okay? So we can relax the criteria, but in fiqh we can't. We can't in fiqh. Is Salat al-Tarawih sunnah or not sunnah? Tell me. If it is sunnah, I will do it. If not sunnah, leave me alone. I want to relax. I want to have tea and speak to my family. I don't want to stand 2 hours and you have to tell me. Is this hal? Is Tawaf al-Nisa wajib or not wajib? Tell me. Give me the clear-cut answer. Don't leave me in limbo. I need to do. I need to see whether I must do it or not. This is extra. This is very important because it is related to halal and haram. وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.